this year's Grand Finals. I'd just like to say congratulations and best of luck to both teams.
And hi everyone, I'm Henry Kofi. I'm also going to be a panel for the final round. All the best to both teams.
Okay, I think that we are waiting. Okay. We are still waiting for the reply speaker of the VDXB6.
Okay.
Okay. Could you please say the exact formulation of the motion for the round this house?
This house supports the development of self-driving cars.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Russian. I think the job comes from Russia.
Okay. Please, the debaters who are not debating the finals, please do stay unmuted throughout the duration of the debate. Thank you very much. Okay, and now without further ado, I call upon the first speaker of side proposition to open this debate. Here.
Nhìn thì kiểu giống con gái bà cũng là nóng nhá. Là xong mặt thì giống con trai. Cái đây à? Cái đây à?
I think you're muted or just.
Yeah, we're not hearing
Good afternoon, esteemed adjudicator, fellow debaters, and audience members. My name is Otis and I'm Speaker 1 from Side Proposition. Today's motion is this House supports the development of self-driving cars. Before I start, all POIs should be called out verbally. The motion simply means that the development of self-driving cars should continue. Today I will talk about how there will be fewer crashes and how there will be no road crimes. Speaker 2 will talk about how self-driving cars benefit the disabled people. Moving on to the model, the development of self-driving cars will continue. There will still be a driver in case of emergencies and drivers will not lose their jobs. There will be $1 billion in government funding every year. Self-driving cars will always be configured to allow drivers to step in when there is an emergency. All self-driving cars will be heavily equipped with multiple cameras and multiple sensors. By the end of this debate, if we can conclude that the development of self-driving cars should continue, we win this debate. Your POR? Oh, okay. Argument 1, fewer crashes. What do I mean by this? As human error is eliminated, there will be fewer, if not no crashes. Why is this true? Crashes happen because a human cannot think properly in a high-pressure situation and does not know how to react. Common mistakes that lead to accidents, such as texting while driving, will be eliminated. There's no margin for human error and there's a strict code that the computer will follow. As an example, Teslas are so safe that during the crash testing, the testing equipment broke and not the car. Studies show that with self-driving cars, accidents will reduce by at least 90%. Why does this matter? Many human lives will be saved and the cost that comes with crashes, such as the repairs and fines, will also be eliminated. Life is more important than anything else. Also, without any crashes, there would be no traffic jams as there is no cause for congestion. The two main stakeholders here, the passengers and the drivers, are positively affected. Passengers will not lose their lives in car accidents, and other drivers will also be positively affected as they don't have to waste time in a traffic jam. We want to continue the development of self-driving cars as it will ensure a safe future. Moving on to my second argument, road crimes. What do I mean by this? There will be no road crimes. Why is this true? Drunk driving and reckless driving will not be an issue because there will be an AI computer controlling everything. The coding will be so that it follows all road laws. Why does this matter? Road crimes are also another reason for crashes. Thousands lose their lives in accidents caused by overspeeding and drunk driving. Many lives will be saved and roads will be safer places. Team opposition may say that the vehicle may get hacked, but we strongly disagree because advanced self-driving cars will have constant AI protection and strong firewall. Team opposition also may say that we had mentioned that Teslas had broken the crash testing equipment during the crash test and that it could crush a pedestrian, but we strongly disagree as a motion sensor will detect any object in front and stop. For all these reasons, the motion is in our favor.
Great, thank you very much for delivering this fine speech and opening this debate. And I'll call upon the first speaker of side opposition to continue it.
Thank you. Good morning, esteemed adjudicator, fellow debaters and audience. My name is Kushi Gadia and I am speaker number 1 from Team Proposition. Today's motion is this House supports the development of self-driving cars. I, speaker 1, will be talking about the misuses of self-driving cars and moral machine dilemma. Speaker number 2 will discuss less accountability and technology glitches and elaborate further on the arguments. Now, let me begin with some refutations to the arguments that speaker number 1 from Team Proposition presented. Self-driving cars will less traffic congestion. While this may be true in theory, there is still uncertainty around how self-driving cars will interact with human-driven cars and how they will be integrated into existing road infrastructure. We can code self-driving cars to stop when they see a person on the road, he said. Even when you can code them in a specific way, it is unreliable in situations where a pedestrian suddenly steps on the road. This is not a straightforward solution, as we have to look at the real-world implications of this, such as road crossing on highways or change in weather conditions, visibility, and infrastructure. Now let me present our burden of proof. If we prove to you that self-driving cars should not be developed, then we win this debate. Status quo. The current status for self-driving cars is that they are still in testing and development phase. While they have been advancements in technology, self-driving cars are not yet widely available on fully autonomous. Several companies and organizations are testing self-driving cars on public roads, but there are still many technical, legal, and ethical challenges that need to be addressed before self-driving cars can be widely adopted. Today, self-driving cars can provide a choice for both human and AI drivers. This allows for more safety on the road. At any point of time, the humans can take over, which is further developing it is not beneficial. We're not banning it, but we want to oppose the development of it. Now, I would like to present my arguments. My first argument is about the moral machine dilemma. By this, I mean that the issues with making decisions depending on the situation that it presents. Basically, it cannot improvise due to its programming, whereas the gasoline cars, you have the ability to steer in which direction you want to go. And if there is some emergency or sudden issue, you can stop, right? Picture this. Imagine a pedestrian crossing the road all of a sudden. The self-driving car couldn't wait unless it is programmed to do so, hence causing the outcome to change the outcome to what wouldn't be the regular car's cause decline. This is true because it basically depends on the complex algorithms that it is assured to do. Even if you change that and add sensors to the car, there's no assurance that it will halt in time. My second argument is that it covers the misuses of self-driving cars. By this I mean that self-driving cars have the potential to be misused. This is true because these cars relies severely on technology and could raise several concerns of unintentional or intentional misuse, such as cyber attacks or hacking leading to malicious activity in the car. For instance, a hacker could direct the car to crash. Another misuse could be, since these cars operate without human oversight, it could be used for illegal activities such as drug smuggling or human trafficking. Finally, these cars can raise privacy concerns about the user's individual identity and track all the records. This is important because it is important to understand that if we develop this technology further, it increases the risks of all these misuses and ethical concerns taking place, which is why we should oppose the development of this technology. You might say that self-driving cars provide quite a benign outcome. However, I would refute that point because ask yourself this: where do they get the material for charging points? As you think they are powered on renewable energy, but they get the material from the coal mines, which dig into the Earth's ozone layer. This continues to have a detrimental effect upon the environment. Thus, we strongly believe that the motion is in our favor. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for delivering your fine speech, and I call upon the second speaker of side opposition to do the same.
Good afternoon, esteemed adjudicators, fellow debaters, and audience. My name is Ayan, and I am speaker number 2 from Team Proposition. Let me first begin with some refutations to Speaker 1 from Team Opposition's case. Speaker 1 from Team Opposition said that self-driving cars are not reliable, and she gave us an example by saying that, for example, if a pedestrian suddenly steps on the road, the self-driving car will not be able to react in time. But the way these cars are coded is so that they have the fastest reaction time. As it is an AI, it'll be able to detect and stop the car within just a few milliseconds. Unless the pedestrian wants to get hurt for whatever reason, he or she will not get hurt or hit by the car. Now moving on to my arguments. The title of the argument is that disabled people, especially blind people and people with distance impairment, will also benefit from self-driving cars continuing to develop. What do I mean by this? People who are blind and people with eye impairment will benefit largely if the development of AI self-driving cars continues. Why? And this is true because around 2 billion people have either a near distance or a far distance eye impairment. And around 400 million out of those 2 billion cases of eye impairment cannot be cured. We need to take into consideration these hundreds of millions of people. This means that their vision is weak and cannot be reversed or cured. Why is this important? Researchers have discovered that people suffering from bad vision show a 31% higher mortality risk during the 8-year study period in car accidents. Another study indicates that 60% of all road accidents can be linked to bad vision. Also, if people drive with bad vision, this will lead to much more accidents. Now, Speaker 2 from Team Opposition may say that people have drivers for these cases, but having a self-driving car means that they won't have to spend money on hiring a driver, so save a lot of money long term. Speaker 2 from Team Opposition may also say that drivers will lose their jobs if self-driving cars completely take over, but our model already includes a rebuttal to this argument, as it clearly states that a driver will still be in the car in case of an emergency for whatever reason they may be, and this is mainly including Uber drivers. As self-driving cars will have some flaws at the beginning of their mass production around the world. With all these arguments, we strongly believe that the motion is in our favor. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for delivering your speech, and I'll call upon the second speaker of side opposition to continue this debate. Here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to begin with my refutations. Speaker 1 of Team Proposition said that self-driving cars can eliminate human error. And while this is true, what happens when AI error occurs? There have been many cases where there have been glitches, small malfunctions, and in the case of AI, this can completely change its programming, therefore making self-driving cars even more dangerous than the dangers that human error could lead to. Speaker 2 of Team Proposition said that self-driving cars will help disabled people. And he also said that if I say they have drivers cost money, and self-driving cars will help them save it. But let me ask you, how much money does a self-driving car cost? The technology required to develop a self-driving car is extremely, extremely expensive, and therefore having a driver is actually a better solution. Declined. Now I'm moving on to my arguments. My point is that developing self-driving cars leads to less safety and less accountability on the road. What do I mean by this? When you develop a self-driving car, you are putting the life of a passenger in the hands of a few lines of code. And there is so much room for error when you do that. Technical glitches, small misplaces of semicolons perhaps in the code can completely change this and cause many, many accidents. In addition to this, when these accidents happen, there is no one to be held accountable. The matter of fact is that an AI is behind these decisions, not a human. And that means that the victims of these accidents won't get justice. Why is this true? This is true because there is no way to stop technical glitches from happening. No matter how far you go, these minor technical glitches still occur. And it changes the entire way technology works simply because that is how it functions. Take the example of how a semicolon can change the function of a web page. Now, the fact that you can't hold anyone responsible is also true because of the fact that you can't hold anyone responsible is also true because you can't hold the developer responsible for a technical glitch that he or she has no control over. You can't hold the passenger of a car responsible because he or she is the victim of this accident, and therefore there is no ethical way to resolve this. Now, why does this matter? This matters because when you develop self-driving, this matters because this puts the lives of people at risk. This puts the lives of passengers at risk. I'll take your POI later. This puts the lives of passengers at risk, and it is completely unnecessary. The matter of fact is we do not need self-driving cars, and developing them will not only make driving on the road unsafe, but it won't give anyone accountability. Your POI is accepted.
So can't there be minor mistakes committed by human leading to car accidents also?
Yes, so there can be minor mistakes committed by humans, but those mistakes are minor, such as perhaps shifting lanes without giving the proper signal. Minor errors in AI can change the entire code and even result in them randomly stopping in the middle of the road or driving in the wrong way, as I've explained previously. Before I end my speech, I'm going to elaborate on Speaker 1's points. Speaker 1 talked about how there are several problems with developing AI, such as moral machine dilemma, where how are you going to get an AI to choose between the lives of its passenger and the lives of other people on the road? This means that AI is unethical and it cannot be developed fairly. She also talked about how misuse and hacking of AI is extremely likely, which again leads to an unsafe experience for people on the road. The matter of fact is that developing self-driving cars is unethical, unsafe, and unnecessary, and that is why we strongly disagree with this motion.
Great, thank you very much for delivering your fine speech. And now I call upon the next speaker of the debate to continue this debate, the third speaker of side proposition.
Thank you for that. Good afternoon, esteemed judges, fellow debaters, and audience. My name is Dudra, and I'm speaker number 3 from Team Proposition. Today, I will be summarizing my team's argument in favor of the motion and reminding you why the motion is in our favor. But first, I would like to start with some refutation. She said that speaker number 2 said that self-driving cars can be dangerous and a malfunction will happen. One little piece of code will change everything. Well, if self-driving cars are so dangerous in your opinion, then why are they still being made? Why did humans come up with this idea to start making self-driving cars? And I would like to call out speaker number one for not refuting speaker number one's second point, which was road crime will perish because of this, because of self-driving cars. That clearly means that she agrees with our case and she has no way to argue towards it. Now, they also talked about the expense of the cars. At the start, when these cars are released, like now, they might have high prices, but sooner or later, like normal cars, the prices will go down and they will be affordable for many people. And also, they get no analysis on how they refuted Speaker One's case, so their case is invalid. As I have now proved to you that the opposition's team's weak arguments turns out to be their Achilles heel, well, we have now proved to you, we have now presented you with an indisputable case. I would like to once again remind you, esteemed judge, why the motion is in our favor. Speaker number one from our team spoke about how there will be less crashes, how automation can reduce crashes on the road, and how it reduces traffic, as well as how overspeeding and road crimes like drunk driving will perish from this road. Speaker 2 spoke about how the blind people with distance impairment will be positively how blind people, disabled people, and people with distance impairment will be positively affected. And one more thing, speaker number 2 said that there can be malfunctions. One more reason that that's why we want to continue to make it more safer, to make it more better for people, so that there will be no malfunctions as of what you're talking about. With all protected time. With all these points, I strongly believe the motion is in our favor.
Okay, speaker, are you done with your speech?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for delivering it. And now I call upon the third speaker side opposition to deliver a speech. Here.
Could I have 30 seconds, please?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I will begin speaking now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, esteemed adjudicator and fellow debaters. The motion upon the House is that this House supports the development of self-driving cars, and we strongly disagree with this motion. Today, I, Speaker 3, will be summarizing my team's argument and remind you yet again why this motion is in our favor. Firstly, I'll begin with some refutations for side proposition. Speaker 1, he talked about how there are less crashes with self-driving cars. However, this is clearly a claim, as self-driving cars completely rely on advanced technologies which can experience glitches such as sensor errors, bugs, threats, and connectivity issues and times decline, leading to increased crashes and less accountability of the same. He said that we can code self-driving cars to stop when they see a person on the road. However, even though you code them in a specific way, it's still unreliable in situations where a pedestrian suddenly steps on the road unexpectedly and it's not a straightforward solution. He also said that this reduces human error. Yes, it may be true that it can reduce human error, but these cars are not immune to technological failures nor sudden changes in the real world roads. Speaker 2, he said that they are accessible to people with disabilities. Yes, while this may be true, these cars further worsen the transportation inequalities in the current world and the accessibility of transportation to all. He also asked a POI about how human error causes mistakes. Yes, this is true. However, the mind of a human is able to experience what is happening at the time of a crash, whereas an AI is programmed in a general manner without knowing what actually happens in the real world. Speaker 3 talked about road crime, where he said that Speaker 1 hasn't refuted this argument. However, she has clearly refuted road crimes by saying that the car could be misused in several ways, such as human trafficking, drug dealing, and intentional and unintentional misuses in the car. Now I will be reminding you, dear adjudicator, about my team's case. My speaker number one, Khushi, spoke about moral machine dilemma, where the self-driving cars raised several concerns about the ethical questions of these cars. She explains how there is no one held accountable for the decisions made by AI and thus causes ethical implementations of these cars. She also talked about how there are plethora of misuses for self-driving cars, such as hacking, intentional or unintentional misuse, and privacy or safety concerns and risks on the road. Speaker number two, Ahana, spoke about how self-driving cars rely on advanced technologies but experience glitches such as sensor errors, bugs, threats, and connectivity issues at times. I'll take it after this. And she also talked about how they rely on AI, which raises a question about who is accountable for the car in case of an accident. POI accepted.
Don't humans rely on their thoughts and emotions?
So what I was trying to say was that AI is programmed in a general manner based on what they think that could happen and how the car could be programmed to understand what would happen in case of a crash. But the human even though AI is a bit more efficient, the human can experience what happens at the time of the crash and use the mind of a human to change the way that they understand the crash, and based on that they can develop some do something which can stop the crash or a collision to happen. Now I'll be moving on to the clash of this debate. So the clash was about human error versus AI error. Now opposition argues about how self-driving cars can cause several malfunctions, errors in the program of AI, whilst less accountability. Proposition argues about how these cars can reduce a human error because AI is well functioned and it cannot make errors. Opposition wins this clash as it is impractical to believe that an AI cannot make mistakes even though it may be efficient. By opposing the development of self-driving cars, you can reduce the risks of technical glitches, accountability, and the risks of crashes on the road. Thus, we strongly believe, dear adjudicator, the motion is in our favor.
Great, thank you very much for delivering your speech, and I'll call upon the last speaker of side opposition, the reply speaker.
Now, I would like you to imagine a world where the Earth's ozone layer would almost be depleted, causing natural disaster for the future. As well as that, it makes people so dependent on self-driving cars that it makes them kind of lethargic. With people misusing a technological advancement, using it for day-to-day purposes, with moral machine dilemmas, crashes, even glitches. Would you really like to live in this world? The unemployment rate will be too much versus the world that we're proposing, versus the world team opposition would stand for, with people who are very active, as well as that, adding up to very secure data banks. People would look and see if someone or something is passing on the road. People would benefit highly from this and following their instinct. Now, I would like to ask you, esteemed adjudicator, which world would you propose to live in? Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much for your closing statements, and I'll call upon the reply speaker of side proposition to do the same. Thank you.
Good afternoon, esteemed adjudicators, fellow debaters, and audience members. My name is Ojis, and I'm the reply speaker of SAT proposition. Picture this: a world with less traffic. Everyone is safe because there are no crashes. No reckless drivers committing road crimes. The roads become a safe environment. Fuel economy is improved and the environment is benefited. Now, picture the above. Millions die every year because of car accidents. People spend hours in traffic. Disabled people are left out and always need a driver to go anywhere. Their world is the opposite of inclusive. Everyone is unsafe and human emotions and thoughts reflect whether you live or die. For all these reasons, we win this game.
Great. Thank you very much. And a big congratulations to both side proposition and side opposition for engaging in finals this year. The panel will go to the breakout room, adjudicators room. And okay, fellow judges, see you there. And I think that we will be back shortly here with the verdict. Thank you very much.